And Jim Harbaugh getting the job with the Los Angeles Chargers, Sharon Moore appointed to head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, those are moves that were expected. Also what was expected, I think people thought that if Jim Harbaugh leaves, he's going to take some people with him. Going to take his brother with him for sure, and people thought that Jesse Minter likely to be gone as well. And now starts the acrimony with the Michigan fans and Jim Harbaugh, because Michigan's defense has been great. And Jesse Minter's been the defensive coordinator, done a really nice job here. But he's going to leave to go to the NFL. How are Michigan fans feeling about this? How do you feel about Jim Harbaugh specifically now? I think this is kind of a polarizing topic for a while. I think there's a part of the fan base that certainly love Jim Harbaugh no matter what, because they're diehard Michigan fans and they'll ignore anything else and just focus on the fact that they got to the playoff 3 years in a row and finally won the national championship, and not taking that national championship away at all. But you can't ignore that there's some stuff in the past that you probably didn't like and you put up with, but we've had people call into the show that say you can do no wrong. Then you've got the people that love the fact that they've got a national championship. Maybe they're not thrilled with the shenanigans, but they're fine. They got the national championship. Get on his way. They're tired of the act, and let's move on. And Sharon Moore has proven as a head coach on game days that he gets the job done, and you're fine. But now you see what's some of the fallout of moving on is losing a defensive coordinator, which is a second defensive coordinator that you've lost in the last several years. You have Mike McDonald, who's now head coach in Seattle, but Jim got him from his brother in the NFL. Coached at Michigan for 1 year, I think, as the defensive coordinator, was spectacular there, and then went back to the NFL, and now he's got a head coaching job. It worked out well for him. Jesse Minter, again, going from the NFL and his brother John, bringing him over to Michigan. They did a great job with the defense, but now Jim's taking him to go to the NFL. It's one thing if he just goes to the NFL. It's another thing if he goes to the NFL with the coach that just won you the national championship. How are Michigan fans reconciling that? Are you upset with Jim Harbaugh for taking guys? Would you say, hey, you won the championship, that's great. And if you're going to leave to go to the NFL, that's awesome too. But leave the rest of the team alone. I've heard a lot of people on the morning show call in and complain about that. I've seen it on social media where people aren't happy about that. As if this was something that you never thought was going to happen. This is what happens when coaches leave. When coaches leave on their own volition, not being fired, but when they leave on their own volition like Harbaugh did, this happens all the time. They take staffs with them. Sometimes the staff decides to go, sometimes they don't. When Jonathan Smith got hired at Michigan State, he was going to take some of his guys with him. And who's pissed? Oregon State fans. And I get it. Oregon State fans should be upset by it, but you also have to understand when a guy leaves to take a job, it might take some people with him that help make him successful.
I mean, you're absolutely right. This happens all the time. It's not new. He's not breaking any new ground by doing this, but I think the difference is, and I'm just, playing devil's advocate here, the Michigan fan base, the ones that are upset because, number one, Jim Harbaugh, the history with Michigan. This isn't just some guy that came and coached here for 9 years, finally got him to the top, won a championship. He's the former quarterback here. Like he's
the ultimate Michigan man.
Exactly. Bleeds, maize and blue all the way through, allegedly, right? All this stuff. Tells them, claims, I love Michigan. But do you love Michigan if you're going to take everything with you? And now it seems like it was just a kind of like another step for him to get back to the NFL. Of course, I think Jim Harbaugh loves Michigan. But I think people are like, how much do you really love Michigan if you're going to take everything with you? Like, I think that's the balance, Gator. So I don't know how Michigan fans dealing with it. I know you're asking them, so hopefully
because I'm not a Michigan fan,
yeah.
So that's why I'm asking. Because I've heard a bunch of different sizes. I'm just curious about it. And you bring up the Michigan man thing with Harbaugh. He's a Michigan man. It seems like when it's convenient for him to be a Michigan man.
Some people feel that way.
Because was it when he was at Stanford or was it the NFL when he took shots at Michigan and their academic standards and what they were doing with some of the players? He took shots at them. Like, that's the former quarterback who's taking shots at his former university. That's odd. And then they welcome him back in open arms and eventually has the success that all the Michigan fans dreamed of having, which is a national championship. wins a national championship. Now he's leaving for the NFL, taking the defensive coordinator with him, taking his brother with him, taking the strength and conditioning coach with him.
His son with him.
Yeah, I'm sorry, his son, not brother. And taking the strength and conditioning coach with him, which is another one that I think that the Michigan fans are pissed about.
That seems more strange to me because the strength and conditioning coach means more in college than it does for the NFL, and he was basically able to get him a raise, which I was shocked that the Chargers would let him do.
I think he did the same thing when he went from Stanford to San Francisco. I thought I heard that this morning.
But hey, he's going to take who he wants.
Exactly. Hey, I got the job. It's in the NFL. Who wants to come with me? You know, I mean, as a Spartan, I've been through it on both sides of it. You know, going through it when you have a new coach and like Jonathan Smith, or you went through it when Nick Saban left to go to LSU and got on the plane and was hoping that some of the staff members would come on the plane with him to LSU. And the Michigan State football assistant coaches were like, we got another game to play against Florida in the Citrus Bowl. We're not going with you, Nick. And Nick ended up going by himself. Just interesting.